Anniversary of the deadly collapse of a condo building in Surfside. A judge has approved a settlement worth more than $1 billion for the victims of the collapse.
While the settlement will help many victims, there are still several questions that need to be answered. But as I-Team investigator Katie LaGrone explains, those answers are still a very long way away.
1 year later,
the entire building collapsed.
The site of where the Champlain Tower South once stood.
People are still trapped in this building.
Remains a vacant reminder of tragedy, failure, and devastating loss. 1 year later, the now hollowed surface also remains empty of answers into the how and why the seaside building of condos suddenly crumbled into a mangled mess of steel, concrete, and memories.
We don't have a factual determination of why it happened at this point in time.
Alan Kilsheimer is a world-renowned structural engineer hired by the town of Surfside to independently investigate what caused the 40-year-old condo to come down.
It's certainly one of the most frustrating from a complexity standpoint.
Though he had originally planned to have answers by the year anniversary of its collapse, family lawsuits and ongoing police investigations have delayed his access to materials and structural debris, though little has been ruled out in 12 months.
I pretty much eliminated the people who were saying that when the Navy was blowing up ships in the ocean, things like that were kind of way out of left field.
Same for investigators at the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the federal agency leading the investigation.
Right now, we have about 24 hypotheses about what may have happened.
Glenn Bell is a lead investigator working the Surfside building collapse.
I've been doing this type of work for over 40 years, and this may be the most complex, challenging investigation ever undertaken of its type.
To date, teams have cataloged and analyzed materials, measurements have been taken, 3D imaging created for future scrutiny. Invasive testing comes next, which means cutting into concrete and steel for clues. Interviews with witnesses, first responders, and anyone else who may have seen, heard, or known something is ongoing and welcomed.
But it's completely gone.
1 year later, what caused this condo to collapse, taking the lives of 98 men, women, and children, will likely be summed up by a number of factors that took time to build and will take time to unravel.
Everyone wants answers to these questions for good reason. You know, it's challenging for us because we have to do a thorough investigation, and that's going to take some time.
I made a promise to the people of Surfside that I would figure out what happened so I can tell people, if you see this kind of a thing in your building, then you need to get somebody else to look at it pretty quickly.
While Florida lawmakers this year passed a bill increasing the frequency of condominium inspections across Florida, the feds are also planning to weigh in with recommendations for new rules, policies, and laws to prevent another disaster. Those recommendations not expected until the fall of 2024, about a year after they released their findings on what caused this deadly collapse. I'm Katie LaGrone reporting.